September has been flying past, and anyone at an SEC school knows September is all about sport. And so is this action-packed episode of Simon Says. We've got football tailgates and exclusive interviews with two UK athletes right at the top of their game. It's all here in Simon Says September SEC Sports Edition. Viewers, I promise not to let you down after last month's Olympic gold, especially after the continued success of the Australian women's swimmers. And I'm relieved I was able to make good on that promise. I'm joined today by two UK athletes, both Gatton students, in dead set exclusive Simon Says interviews. You won't find this content anywhere else, folks. Later in the show, you'll be joined by UK's star quarterback, Will Levis. And first up, I can't wait to introduce you to our star golfer, Jensen.
Awesome, thanks for having me.
So Jensen, you are the USGA's Women's Amateur Champion. What a mouthful that is. That's an incredible achievement. You still must be on a high from all of this.
Yes, it's still it's just a dream. I mean, growing up, everyone thinks of, it'd be cool if I won this, and what a dream that'd be. Look how nice that trophy is. And at the end of the day, here I am holding it, and I'm like, wow, this is literally a dream that I've had since growing up.
I had the pleasure of watching you on YouTube. They have every shot from the afternoon round of the final. You have a sweet swing, a really sweet swing.
Thank you. I mean, it's taken me about 20 years to get to that point, but...
How did you take up golf, and who taught you that beautiful sweet swing?
So my mom used to have to work on the weekends, and that's when my dad had he'd go play golf. And so unfortunately he had to watch my sister and I. We were about 2 and 3 at the time. And what he'd do is he'd drop a ball in the middle of the fairway. He'd bribe us with candy bars and sodas. So if you got the ball in the hole from wherever he dropped it, I mean, it could be 20 shots, it could have been 4, it didn't matter. You still got to choose between a candy bar or a soda. We would come home that night, and we're so young, 2 and 3, we're bouncing off the wall from all the sugar we had. My mom's like, what'd you give? And he's like, oh, they just love golf.
What are your thoughts pre-swing? Do you think about a lot of things, or do you just get up and hit it?
Yeah, so luckily, I consider myself very relaxed, and I don't think a lot on the golf course, at all, especially about my swing. So as soon as I step over the ball, it's where's the wind? Okay, I see this is what I'm gonna do. That's it, no other thoughts. And then between the ball, between shots, I think about everything but golf. I'll think about school, I'll think about exams, I'll think about oh, look at the grass over there, everything but golf.
Right. And putting, you seem to have a short backswing, but it's a very effective stroke. Not much can go wrong, right?
I love my putting grip. A lot of people have given me a lot of crap for it. It's kind of anchored, and it is just so repeatable. You barely miss you don't miss a right or left. So when you miss the putt, it's basically because of speed. I'm not pulling and pushing it. Whereas other grips you have, I used to putt with a claw. There's so much that can go wrong with the claw between the takeaway and just hitting the putt, just not holding it off right or something. There's just so much. But with my putting grip, it's just so repeatable.
So you have qualified to play in the US Women's Open Golf Championship in 2022. That's exciting. Where is that going to be held?
Oh, I'm so excited. It's in North Carolina. I played in this past year's US Open in California. I qualified for that. And it was a great experience, but I said, it was in California. It was just so different. So I'm really excited for this year's because I have somewhat of an idea how it's going to be. And I know the golf course is actually played on, and it's super close to my home. So I'm going to be able to drive my own car and stuff, be way more comfortable. So I'm so excited.
So what advice would you give to a weekend golfer like me about how to improve their dodgy golf game?
Short game. Short game is way more important than people think it is. And I mean, yeah, you can hit it everywhere and still score a short game, but definitely have fun. Golf's a game that it's just fun.
It's an incredible game to play with your friends. It's such a great time.
Yeah, it's a special sport that you can play your whole life. I mean, baseball, volleyball, you get to a point where your bones can't do that anymore. But like golf, you can do that until you're 100 years old.
You grew up in South Carolina and you're a management and marketing major. Can you tell us why you chose the University of Kentucky?
I just fell in love with it up here. I mean, I love the people up here. I mean, everyone takes such great care of us and they're super friendly.
What do you hope to do after college? Are your plans to play professional golf?
Yes, that's a dream of mine. I got a glimpse of that at the US Women's Open to see how it is. And unfortunately, it's not what I expected. At least with amateur golf right now, golf's super fun. You know, it's supposed to be. And there's no like result, or it's not very result oriented. Don't get me wrong, like everyone wants to successfully win and play well. But like professional level right now, it's like everyone's about the money and that's it. And as long as golf is always fun for me and it's enjoyable, then yes, I would love to play professionally. But the day that it becomes a stress to make money or anything like that, then I probably won't. But as of right now, I really want to go professional.
So Jensen, we're very proud of you at the college. Thank you for joining us today on Simon Says, and all the best on your studies and your professional golf career.
Thank you so much for having me.
And you've certainly given me reason and motivation to improve my golf, especially my short game. It's a great time to be a Wildcat, and I've been loving the start of our football season. So it's been really difficult to keep this next interview a secret. This is another Dead Set Simon Says exclusive. I'm joined today by UK's new quarterback, Will Levis. Aside from making the Cats look so good, we're equally proud that Will has chosen Gatton for his Masters in Finance degree. Folks, not every day you get to interview a star quarterback, so join me in welcoming Will Levis. Hello, Will.
Hello, Simon. How are you? It's a pleasure to be on the show.
I'm so excited to meet you, sir. You have brought so much joy in less than a month to me and to all of our alums. They say it's at least 2014 since we've had a quarterback with skills anything like yours, sir. The dual threat against Missouri, when you shoulder charged those two blokes down, that was just fantastic. So how do you decide? Is this a play that you're going to run, or just the world changes and the play evolves?
So yeah, it's definitely a strategy, and it's not something that I'm kind of like doing before the play starts. Like, hey, I'm gonna drop back. For example, with Missouri last week, they played a lot of man defense, which means that every single defender is accountable for defending one-on-one skill player, receiver, tight end, running back. So when that happens, a lot of displacement happens with the defense. So running the ball is a good option because there's not many people waiting kind of in the middle for you on that second level.
You earned your undergraduate degree in finance in 3 years and played football at Penn State. How did you find your time at Penn State?
I love my time at Penn State. Wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. For me, I'm from Connecticut, and Penn State is really kind of the closest school, even though it's like a 5-hour drive, where I can get that like football prowess that I was looking for. And that proximity to home, that was a big reason why I went there, but then also just to get a really good education. Smeal College of Business was able to get a really good undergraduate degree there in 3 years.
I'm delighted that you're a student in our Master of Science in Finance program. How is that going?
Really, really well. I'm really enjoying my classes. It's not too much of an arduous schedule. John Chait is a great professor and knows a lot, and I connect with him a lot. And just an all-around good dude. And Mark Lee, the head of the program, he's teaching the Python class I'm taking right now, which is something that I dabbled with a little bit in my undergrad, but haven't been as hands-on as I have in this one. So
Python is an extraordinary skill to have. I'm an analytics guy myself, and so if you've got Python programming capability, that sets you apart from lots of other folks. You come from a very highly credentialed sporting family. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, so I've definitely come from a family with a very athletic past, going back to my great-grandfather who played football at Cornell and actually won a national championship there, if you could believe that or not. But that's when like Ivy League football was pretty big. And then his son was a football coach, and that was my mom's dad. Big ties there. My mom ended up being an All-American soccer player at Yale. My uncle played football at Yale as well. But just because of the history that surrounds our family with it, it made it that much more special, and it just meant more to us. And I was immediately drawn to football from the start. Played football, basketball, baseball. Those were like the main three. Ended up being just better at football, I guess. So that's why I ended up playing it in college. But it's really cool to grow up in a family that values the sports and what it can bring to you in your life.
Did you ever get to play with your father and grandfather at the same time?
Oh yeah, I mean, my dad and when my grandfather, when he was able to, he was helping me, teaching me how to swing a bat, throw a football. My dad was one of the best supporters that he could have been. I mean, always out there throwing a baseball, throwing a football with me whenever I asked, and I'm sure he got annoyed with it. But yeah, he was great support for me growing up, and never let me beat him one-on-one in basketball once. So when I did, it was a big moment. But yeah, both of them were big supporters of my athletic and academic and in just life in general.
That's great. What is your favorite college football memory today?
I'd say we won the Cotton Bowl my second year at Penn State, which is just a big accomplishment. New Year's Six Bowl. Was able to contribute for the season to win some games that year, which was really cool. And just not many college football players get to win a game like that. So that was definitely my highlight of the moment at Penn State. Since then, probably being named captain here. That was another big moment for me, just because I wasn't here for that long of a time, and it showed the effort that I put into this past summer of just trying to be the best leader I could be to these guys. And it definitely caught me off guard a little bit, but it was very humbling, and it meant a lot to me.
How is Coach Stoops? How does he motivate the players?
He's awesome. I mean, I think throughout the week he's pretty neutral and pretty calm, but he'll definitely have those moments where he gets fired up and will get in your face. He has this tradition where he always asks one person from each position group like a question about their responsibilities for the game, just to see if they're prepared, like so they can just stand up and just feel good about their preparation. And he usually gets to one person on each position, and he asked maybe two positions before he turned around and punched a whiteboard and it fell on the ground and got us all fired up. But that was funny. But it's funny. It's cool to see that out of him, because he's not vocally intense like that all the time, but he definitely has it in him, and it fires us up when it happens.
So outside of football, you like Justin Bieber pre-2012? What the golly gosh happened to Justin in 2012?
Like Justin Bieber, I have a very interesting relationship with him, just because when I was younger and in like middle school, all the girls would like obsess over him. And it made me, and I'm sure a lot of the other guys my age, very jealous of this guy. And so we thought that like, this guy stinks, like never going to listen to his music. We don't get it. And then I got to like a more mature age of like 17, 18 and realized that he's got some really solid music, and I hated on this guy for nothing. He's a good dude, makes good music. Gave him a chance. I do have a pretty good voice. I won't share it with you now. You're gonna have to wait for that. But so I did a duet of "You Make My Dreams Come True" by Hall & Oates.
That's great. We've got some games with big rivals coming up. Tell us about that.
I mean, I think everyone knows in the back of their head, we got that stretch of 3 really exciting games here in a few weeks. But we just got to take care of business 1 week at a time, and we'll focus on those games when we get there. But I am definitely excited for those games, because I know how much it means to Kentucky and the fans for sure.
What are your goals with football? The NFL?
I would definitely play in the NFL. I mean, that's my goal. But I also know that football isn't forever, and that at some point I'm going to need to find job opportunities elsewhere. And I know that my undergrad and as well as my master's that I'm getting are going to be huge helpers in that search.
You mentioned that you and your mother have teamed up. Tell us about that.
Student athletes are now being able to be paid for use in their name, image, and likeness. I knew I wanted to come out with some cool like clothing and like a logo, and making the logo is like the hardest part, but my mom and I worked really hard to get one that we liked, and she actually owns a small apparel business already. So there are a lot of companies that were asking players to come on and join them. And so we were able to do that after a month and a half of work. I just got my website up and running with my store up. It's levis7.com. And I think it came out really, really cool. There's a bunch of merchandise options out there right now. And there'll be more coming. So if you guys want to check that out, also I was able to partner with the Lexington Leadership Foundation, which does a lot of work in helping Lexington and surrounding areas and people in need in a bunch of different ways. and a set percentage of all my profits with the merchandise are going to be donated towards them. So I'm excited to make that commitment with them.
Will, thank you so much for joining me today. You made all of us proud, particularly your Gatton family. And you know we'll be cheering you on each Saturday.
Thank you so much for having me.
And speaking of Saturdays, there's no better way to spend the day than watching the Cats, especially if you join us at our home game tailgates. It's been wonderful pre-gaming with many of you. Join us each home game 2.5 hours before the game at Kroger Field. And now you know the quarterback is part of our Gatton family. I expect you all to be there at the tailgate and the game, cheering us on to victory. More details online. We'll see you October 2 when we take it right up to those folks from the University of Florida. It's hard to believe we're just a few days away from October. So don't miss next month's edition, where I know we'll have some spooky surprises up our sleeves. We'll recap the state of the college and celebrate homecoming. See you next time. Be well and go Cats!